Hello, welcome to the channel. My name is Jansen. This is Confronting Chaos, and I'm going to do a review of what I find to be one of the most beautiful pieces of literature I've ever laid my hands on, and that is The Dream of the Ridiculous Man. So what this story, I mean, it's a 30 page, depends on what book you have, what size print you have, but it's 10 to 30 page story by Fyodor Dostoevsky, who, if you don't know, is a famous Russian novelist. Existential philosophies embedded in his novels, and he's a man who endured a hard life, and he poured it out into his stories. And I first read this Dream of the Ridiculous Man in 2024, about 2 years ago exactly, in this June-July period. And I was a non-believer at this point, and I was a strong denier of the Christian faith. And at this point, I had no idea he was a strong Christian, let alone an Orthodox Christian, which I have spent just over a year consuming so much. And even then, in my state of disbelief of heaven and of Christ and of all these transcendent aspects of the Christian faith, this story still spoke to me. And I didn't quite understand, well, I understood what the story was saying, but I didn't quite understand what it meant for me. And I read it again in these past few days. And this is now me who's spent a good over, let's say, more than 12 months now of consuming Orthodox Christianity. And only in the past year did I find out that Fyodor Dostoevsky was a strong Orthodox Christian believer. And I could now sense the saintliness. I'm not saying he's a saint, but the power in his message. And it's spoken to me in, maybe not in a new way, but in a way that I can now really apply into my life. And it's the fundamental Orthodox message. So I'm going to give some spoilers of the story so that I can really get the message across. But I do recommend you can finish the story within an hour. It's a very short story, but a very powerful story. So, firstly, the ridiculous man. He's talking about how ridiculous he is and how he's sort of misunderstood by the world. And a common theme in Dostoevsky is loneliness and despair. And he's, for months now, decided that he's going to kill himself. This is a given. He's going to do it. He just doesn't know when. But then this particular day, he feels like nothing matters to him. So this is the perfect day to kill himself, because nothing can hold him back. Nothing matters. Whether I die or whether I have a cup of tea, it doesn't matter. Let me just do it now. So he has his revolver at home. He knows he's going to do it. Until a girl who he finds on the street at night is clawing onto him, begging him for help because her mother has died some cruel death. And he waves the girl away because he's like, he's about to go kill himself. Well, he shouldn't care about this small little situation. So he waves her away, and then he goes home and sits and he prepares his revolver to shoot into his temple. But deep down, that empathy and that desire to help this girl keeps him going. And he falls asleep on his chair and dreams. And this dream is what actually, this is something I missed the first time of reading it, is his conversion. And you could say to the Christian faith. And he has a wonderful dream of being sent into the stars. He's out of his, that outer body experience. He's in the stars. And, well, the dream starts off by him succeeding in his suicide. So he shoots himself in the chest, not in the temple this time, in the heart, exits his body, flies into space, and there's some mystical creature, perhaps God, leading him on this journey through space. And he comes to a planet that looks exactly like ours. It's Earth. And he finds people exactly like us. And the first thing they do, they don't ask him questions. They just have a childlike nature about them, and they come and console him. And they see the suffering about him. And their mission is not to persecute him, to figure out who he is, anything. Their only mission is to wipe the pain away. And he's so in love by them. And he's also so attached to his suffering. Because I don't know if you've ever been in a hopeless state, but it becomes a joy to be hopeless. It becomes a joy to be depressed. It becomes a joy to wallow in your suicidal thoughts. And this is what he experiences. But he finds such beauty in these people, in their childlike ways. And this is something that Christ alludes to. To be humble like a child is to have the kingdom of God within you. And it's to be not distorted by the sin of the world. And he's so amazed by these people on this earth, exactly the same as ours, but without the fall. Humanity was never struck with sin. But then as time goes on, the ridiculous man, with his wicked ways still with him, starts, through his pride and selfishness that's still with him, starts tainting the people of this planet, of the earth that's exactly like ours, but without the fall. And here they have their own fall. And Dostoevsky seems to be saying that it just takes an ounce of a decision to choose wrong, to see wrong in others and then to choose to do it in ourselves, as opposed to seeing beauty in others and choosing to follow the beauty within them. To see wickedness and to be inspired by wickedness, and that spreads like a virus. And soon this planet is distorted with sin, and the ridiculous man takes the blame for himself. And we come to the end of the story, and he's not certain of a scientific truth, of something that can be proven, and he's aware that people are going to call him crazy when he wakes up from this dream. And he's not sure if this is the truth or not, because it's a dream. Who will believe a dream? But he knows deep down that this is the way, this is it, this is truth. And it's not truth that the world labels as truth. Something that must be proven in that scientific sense. And he's so inspired by them that this dream by a ridiculous man, who would believe it? And he says, I'm going to preach this no matter what. And that suicide, that despair, forget about that. I am going to live now. And he's going to live according to that truth that he discovered in the beauty within those people. And that is Orthodox Christianity. And the ridiculous man says that all man has to do is to love his neighbor. Love his neighbor. And if all of us could just submit to that proposition, the entire world would be healed. And this is Orthodox Christianity, and this is what is embedded in Dostoevsky, in all his novels. In The Idiot, which is now a massive novel of, I won't get into detail on that, but someone like Christ in a cruel world. And that the cruel world can make you think you're an idiot for living like this, the same as the ridiculous man. But it takes those who are willing to be the idiot, willing to be ridiculous for Christ, willing to live in this childlike and pure state of complete servitude and complete love and beauty. That is what heals the world. That is the beauty that saves the world, by inspiring each individual soul that you encounter. And the same way the fall can be from one sin salvation of souls can come from the peace of one soul. And that is Orthodox Christianity. Seraphim of Sarov says exactly that. The Dream of the Ridiculous Man is not just a fantasy story. Dostoevsky is teaching us Orthodox Christianity. He is teaching us what it means to be a Christian. And do you believe that this paradise could be actualized? And in actuality, we cannot know. We cannot know that there is this heavenly realm that is outside of our mental capabilities. We cannot know such a thing. But what the ridiculous man is certain of, what he's certain of, is the beauty that he sees in the virtue of these people, of these unfallen people, and the beauty that Dostoevsky sees in the person of Christ. And if we could all just submit to that beauty, what would the world be like? And then perhaps once we see that, perhaps we could start believing that there might be something more.